today I am going to talk to you about quilting cotton. So you may wonder why I am also then surrounded by clothes. Basically, I want to come and tell you why quilting cotton doesn't just mean quilting. I love quilting cotton for sewing clothes, and I don't think a lot of people consider it when they are looking for their fabric when they're making clothes. So today, that's what I want to come and talk to you about. As you can see, I've got quite a collection. This isn't even everything that I've got that I've made out of just quilting cotton alone. I have also had this lovely fabric collection arrive today, so it did also make sense to come on and show you this, being that we are approaching Remembrance Sunday and it's a beautiful poppy collection. It is by Savannah Rawson and it's called Poppy Queen, and there are 5 that are in the collection. You've got 2 that are sort of more obvious poppy prints, but then there are also some really lovely blenders. And what I love about it is that they're not in the obvious like bright red poppy colours. They're really lovely, like soft pinks, peaches, like corals. And I do particularly love this blender as well. So these are latest on the quilting cotton front, and it could be one of the examples that you feel inspired to sew your own clothes with. So I'm going to go through my rail. I won't go through every single item in a lot of detail, but if there's anything that I miss out that you want to know, then please drop me a message and I will reply to everybody. So since we've started off talking about poppies, I thought I would start off showing you a dress that I made with a poppy theme. Now this one here is a hinterland dress that I made a couple of years ago now, and it was with the Field of Memories collection by the Crafty Lass, or Paula, who's a good friend of mine as well. And I absolutely love this dress. It comes out every summer. It is an organic 100% cotton, and the pattern is, I haven't actually made this pattern for a while, but it's a really good one, and it's a really good one for using cotton with. I took this out for a photo shoot in a field of poppies. The other fabrics in the collection are more reds, but blue is my colour, blue and green, so I went with the blue, and then the yellow for the buttons, and I really love it. It looked a bit short when I originally made it, so I just added an extra ruffle on the end, and it has of course got pockets. So when it comes with quilting cotton, it's got such good structure that it's really easy to add pockets to everything. Some fabrics are a bit more floaty, it's going to ruin the shape of the dress if you add pockets in, but I don't find that with quilting cotton. In fact, I found a few lipsticks and tissues and stuff in the pockets when I was ironing them ready for this video. But I have made 2. This is another one. This was the first, in fact no, this was the first one, and then I made this one afterwards. I made the body slightly longer when I made it the second time round. I made this one actually to go to an Ed Sheeran gig. Now this is one of the other reasons why I love quilting cotton. You can get so many different types and themes that you can use depending on what you're doing, or that just suit your personality. So I love a theme, and I'll go through some examples of the reasons why I've made them and where I wore them to. Although that doesn't mean I just wear it for that occasion. So this, you can't always tell from a distance, but I'll do a close-up. It's all musical notes, and this is a Figo Fabrics. I've got a few from this collection actually, and I wore it again recently to a punk rock factory gig in Rock City in Nottingham, and it was just a nice gig one. It was a bit colder, so I wore just a black t-shirt underneath. Yeah. So this is my second hinterland dress. So, talking about themes, I made some clothes for going to Disneyland because it would have been rude not to. So in Disneyland they've got, in Paris, they've obviously got the Marvel section as well. So I made a Spider-Man skirt, and I have to say it has been one of my favourites. I wear it to kids' parties. I still wear it all the time. and this skirt is self-drafted and it's the easiest thing ever. I first made it in this lemon fabric, which again, this particular style really suits me, and it's just dead flattering. The elastic is just really wide elastic, and you can buy this on my shop as well. I'll drop the link below. And I've also got some like small detail, which I'll do some close-ups of, that I added to the end of this one. But yeah, sticking with themes and showing your personality through your fabric. I also love gardening. When I got this cotton in, I love the colour anyway, but it has lots of garden references. It's got the secateurs and your seeds and your plant pots and things. So I had to make this. I wear it quite a lot. I especially wear it to garden centres because it's just a bit of fun, isn't it? And I have a little label on it, which was from a Figo panel, and it says, "No rain, no flowers." It made perfect sense for this dress. And this is an indigo dress, and I have made at least 3 indigo dresses. This one I wear all the time. I wore this in the photo shoot when Alfie, my youngest, was born. It's had lots of wear. It wasn't breastfeeding friendly, but it's had lots of wear. That was another Figo print actually. I do love Figo fabrics. They've got such fun prints. And I know that they're great quality. This must be at least 5 years old. So although it looks a little bit faded, to me it looks loved and it looks worn, and I will continue to wear it. I also made an indigo dress in Christmas jumper fabric because it is fun to have a pretty dress that's not just wearing a big knitted Christmas jumper, because I don't know about you, but if you visit certain families it is hot in there and you don't want to be wearing a Christmas jumper. So I thought a Christmas jumper dress would be a fun alternative. So those are my indigos. They're Tilly and the Buttons, and she is often one of my go-to fabric patterns. This one isn't an indigo, but it's a really similar pattern. It is, I have written it down, so it's a McCall's 7948. It's very similar. I actually think the neckline is too high on this. So on my to-do list is to lower this neckline so that I get a bit more wear out of it. But I wore it to go to Lapland, UK last year, which was the most magical day of my life. I mean, I think the kids liked it too, but there's nothing that makes you happier as a parent than seeing your kids happy. So I didn't actually get that many pictures of me in it because we were too busy having fun. But this was a Debbie Shaw Christmas collection. I just thought, oh, you know what, that'll look perfect in the woods when we go and visit Santa. So that is this one. I mentioned Disneyland already. I planned out my outfits for the visit. So I had my Marvel day, and when we were in the main bit, I went as Ariel. And this is another Crafty Lass collection actually. You'll notice that I've got quite a few of her bits in here. So this was her Sea of Colour collection. And I just thought, because it was sea themed and it was purple, it was a really good Ariel top. So with the red hair, it was my obvious princess go-to really. I did loads and loads of shearing on the bottom, and it did end up being a bit long. But what I did, I was like, I'm not going to cut off all that shearing because it took too long, and it didn't work with the trousers that I was wearing with it. But it does with other things. So I just tucked it under and then wore it as a bit of a crop top. So yeah, that was my Ariel theme for Disneyland. So Quilting Cotton, think quilts, perfect for quilted jackets, which are just so trendy at the moment. And this was my first one. I haven't made another one since, not because I don't want to, I just haven't had the opportunity, and I also haven't quite been inspired by a fabric collection to wear as a jacket yet. But this one was Hannah's Flowers, which is a Lewis and Irene collection, and I just loved the autumnal colours, and I knew that it would end up being worn mostly in autumn. Yeah, I really love my jacket, and quilted jackets are definitely on my to-do list to do more of. This is actually the same pattern as the purple top, but it is shorter and without the shearing. It's a really good go-to. I wear a lot of really bright shorts in the summer. I love wearing shorts, and I think it's a really fun way of wearing bright cotton in a pair of shorts and then just a more plain top. So this one I actually made to go with a pair of shorts. I made this to go with these. These are another Crafty Lass fabric, and again I love the colour, I love the pink, and I thought these two went really well together. I've bought a few of my pairs of shorts to show you. I made these ones because I wanted something that matched my little boy at the time. George was much smaller, so these shorts don't fit either of them anymore. But they were so cute, and they had little they have got little pockets in, and these were just self-drafted. So we were matchy when we were on holiday. I made these ones so long ago now. I don't have either of these fabrics in anymore, unfortunately. I think this was a Free Wishes one. And I saw it and I was like, wow, that is fun. That's holiday shorts. But I do wear these. All these shorts come out every summer. And George must have been two or three. So these must be at least 5 years old. And it's also a fun way of making clothes for kids. If you've got boys like me, it's hard to make them just everyday clothes out of cotton, because I'm not ironing shirts every day, quite frankly. But during the summer, shorts are a good fun way. And I made these the night before we went to Thomasland, before he started school and we could go during the day. So they were literally 2 bits of fabric folded. I didn't add pockets, so I didn't bother adding a side seam. I've literally just sewn 2 bits of fabric together, and he loved them when we went to Thomasland. So making your kids shorts out of any theme of quilting cotton is a really nice way of using it, and that literally will have been like 1/2 metre of fabric as well. Right, it's time to talk about Mabel. I'm wearing a Tilly and the Buttons Mabel top dress at the moment. This one is long, it's just below the knee. I've gone for long sleeves with the shearing on the end. As much as I love the flouncy ones like this, they're not always practical when you're a mum and you've got washing and stuff to do, so having the elastic around the wrists makes much more sense. I've actually made this now 4 times. I love it for all different occasions. This one I just liked it because it was a cross stitch type theme. When you look a bit closer you can see that it's cross stitch, which I also like doing. This was the only short one that I've done, like top version. But I did it with the faces. I wear, as I've shown you, a lot of bright shorts and things, so it's nice to have a white t-shirt that goes with lots of different things. So that's why I went with the white. I've also done it in a very, very pink because I realised I didn't have much pink in my wardrobe. And it's a hummingbird Lewis and Irene, and I made it and then it wasn't quite long enough, so I've added this is Quilting Cotton as well, but it's just from my Plain Organics collection, and I think the pinks worked perfectly. I just made it a bit longer, and actually the frill on the bottom I think makes it as well. So I wear these as casual tops and dresses, but you might have noticed the one that I've put on the mannequin next to me. It's also the same pattern, but I made it to go to my brother's wedding. So last summer, my brother married into an Indian family, and we had a whole week of celebrations. We just had the best time. We had 3 different ceremonies, and I wore this one to like the English civil ceremony. I'll share some pictures of my saris for the others, because if you're here because you like fabric and you're going to really appreciate them. So like a red sari, dress and skirt and top, sorry, for the Mendi. And then I wore if Ariel went to Jasmine's wedding style sari for the main event, which I absolutely loved and I did feel like a princess in. But I made this for the civil ceremony. It's from the Indian Summer collection, which is inspired by archives at the Natural History Museum. I loved that it was called Indian Summer. And this particular print from the collection was called Lovebirds. So that's making your own clothes. I think it's got the secret message, secret hidden messages that maybe only you know, but I loved that I could make that for my brother's wedding. But what I also did is I made them a quilt with that whole collection as their wedding gift, which I have got a link to, which I'll put below. And I think it's one of my favourite quilts I've ever made. So yeah, this Babel dress I loved for a dress for a wedding. You wouldn't necessarily consider quilting cotton as wedding fabric, but it did work, and I do wear it every day during the summer as well, because I think it doesn't look at, you don't look overdressed, but I don't think I look underdressed at the wedding. Hopefully that makes sense. Since we're talking about special occasions and sewing with cotton, I thought I'd show you this one as well, because you might not think, a lot of what I've shown you is quite fun, lots of fun prints that I've done for special occasions, or like fun reasons, but I have sewn quite a few like going outy ones and special occasion ones as well. So I made this one to go to the races with, for my best friend who I was bridesmaid for, and I thought it was a really good like race day dress. It's a Lewis and Irene again, but it's got copper, like a metallic copper, so it just had that little bit of shimmer, which made it feel even more special. Now, one thing about sewing with quilting cotton, one of the downfalls is that it is 110, 112 centimetres wide. Generally, if you go for like dressmaking cottons or fabrics, they're 150. So that can limit what patterns you use. With this one, I put the seam in the pleat, and I made sure I picked a pattern where it wasn't going to be really obvious. So I did it discreetly. Other ways I have got around it is if it's a big A-line skirt, I've graduated it less, or made it slightly shorter. So there are ways around it, but it is worth considering that when you're buying quilting cotton for dressmaking. You need to consider your pattern, have a good look at it first and see whether you can make it work. Talking of special occasions and hen parties, I made this dress, and I didn't know to show you because it's been a long time since I fitted in it. It was one that I made for a hen party quite a number of years ago. It definitely doesn't fit anymore. And I don't know what to do with it because it's so pretty. I love the fabric so much. I don't know whether to sell it or like put it on Vinted or something, or to repurpose it in some way, because it's perfume bottles, and I thought it was quite a fun one to wear out on out on a hen party. Yeah, just a little black dress, but with a bit more to it. But because the fabric's so nice, there's quite a lot there, and the perfumes would make really nice bags. I don't know what to do with it, so I'd be interested in your opinion. What do you do if you have a dress you no longer fit into? And I have no intention of trying to get this small again anyway. Yeah, what should I do with it? Let me know. So I actually made my husband a shirt last week, and it's the first thing that I've ever sewn him that is wearable. I asked him to pick a fabric, and he picked Back to the Future. And when I told you we went to watch a band the other week, this is what he wore. And when he was in the queue to the cloakroom, the bloke behind went, "Oh, I love that man's shirt." And I was like, "Oh, I made it." Which is, don't you just love that feeling? I do. I always tell people if I've made it, if there's a compliment there. But it is fun, isn't it? And again, it shows your personality a bit as well. I think you can get away with it in shirts as well. So there will be many more shirts to come. This was the Tony shirt. So if you were wondering, I did make quite a lot of alterations to it. I made the sleeve shorter, it's shorter in general, and I did end up taking it in more than the pattern said. So I have had to make a few alterations, but as a first go at a shirt, I think it went very well. This is a Willie Morris dress that I made. I wear this all summer. It's a dead nice casual dress. Cotton's really nice to wear in the summer because it feels nice and airy. And I wore this one I think I wore it because I work with Craft Cotton Company quite a lot. So a lot of the cottons you'll see I get from them. This is one of their organic ones, so I love wearing their organic cotton. It's really gorgeous quality. And they were at a trade show, so I wore this when I went to the trade show, just representing one of the companies that I work with quite often. This one's the set like from the same company, but it's their Voicey one, so another organic one. And I wear this less in the summer. I'm not always drawn to it because I think the straps just feel a bit too fancy for just day to day, if that makes sense. But I do wear it. It'll be one that I put in my suitcase if I'm going away. Another example. I wore this to the NEC, to another like sewing and stitching type show, because it's got all the sewing machines on. It is simplicity. The simplicity, I've got quite a few collections with Craft Cotton Company, and this was one of the original ones actually. And it's a lot of dress. I added pockets and I added some sewing theme ribbon to them, and this gets loads of wear in the spring, so I put the long sleeves on. Yeah. When I stopped Liberty Cotton for the first time, I had to make a dress in one of them, and this is what I went for. So this is one of the Liberty Cottons, and it is a Nell. And when it was really hot, it might not look like an obvious choice because it was so like baggy. It was really nice to wear. So that is my Nell. And this skirt I made and debuted on my birthday this year. It is self-drafted, and I do plan on doing more detail on how I made it. If you'd be interested, then let me know, and if there's a lot of love, then I'll knock it up my priority list. Yeah, it's really fun. I will show you the pockets in this one. I will use leftover scrap fabrics to make pockets when there's not enough fabric. So this was another orange cotton that I had in my collection. It means I need to use less fabric and it uses up your scraps. So that is a big tip of mine, is you can always have enough fabric to make pockets. Just raid your scrap bucket. Now, talking of scraps, I've got one last thing to show you. Hopefully I have converted you into sewing with more quilting cotton for your wardrobe. But one of the biggest pros I think about sewing with quilting cotton, and what got me into quilting, was that it's so versatile. When you have dressmaking cotton, often there's not a lot you can do with the scraps apart from just be as careful as possible when you're laying out your fabric so that you don't get a lot of waste. But let's be real, there is always a lot of waste and we can't get rid of it. So I made this scrappy chevron quilt with quilting cotton that I had in my stash, and I can probably tell you the occasions and reasons why I have it. I used to sew a lot of bibs to sell on Etsy and things, so a lot of them are those. There are definitely some fabrics in here that you will recognise from the rail, like that's my indigo dress and my shorts, and those were the shorts as well. Bits of that pocket that I showed you. So it is less likely to go to waste when you've got quilting cotton, not only for actual quilting but for bags and just any project, cushions, whatever you sew. You know that you are going to make a good use for it. This has been one of my most popular blogs. I'll drop the link for it as well. Whether you're using scraps or you use like a specific colour palette or collection, because I've done two. I've done one in just plains, which I also really love. But this gets used all the time. It's on the sofa all the time. And hopefully that just shows you that it's multi-purpose. And I've sold the idea of sewing with quilting cotton. When I started, like 6-7 years ago, that was all that I sold, and the majority of what you see behind me is quilting cotton. Although I am moving and adding more dressmaking fabrics to my collections, I'll never stop selling the quilting cottons, and I just feel like it needs a little bit of love and it needs a little bit of revival. So please spread the word and let me know if you are feeling inspired. And thank you for listening to me if you've got this far, ramble on about my me-made wardrobe.